My name is Ray Bruce. I'm the head custodian at Jaggard Elementary School. I've been doing this for about 5 years, going on my 6th year. I have 4 children. I have 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
My oldest and youngest are girls, and my 2 boys are in between. I'm proud to say they've all gone to and graduated college. I have 4 grandchildren already. The youngest being a baby just born, the oldest being 12 years old. Personally, this isn't the road I planned on going down, but after working several years with the federal government, my department was shut down and I needed a job. So my wife, Renee, who also works for a school district, thought that going this route would be a good way to secure my future with the state offering pension system and everything else that goes with having a state job. So that's why I'm here. I worked for the Department of Defense. I was a case manager for injured soldiers that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan at Fort Dix. What happened was, after about 10 years, the government decided to privatize the business, and the only people that they kept for job-wise was the people that had DD-214s, which is prior military service. I never had military service, and about 28 other people in my department didn't. So they decided to hand those jobs over to people that were coming in that had prior military service. So 28 out of 30 people in my department lost their jobs. So I took a little bit of time off. I had never been on unemployment before in my life, so that was interesting. I went back to school. For a while, I went and got all my prerequisites for nursing. There was such a waiting list to go to nursing school to become an RN that I needed to find something to do, and I applied to about 30 to 40 different school districts. Evesham's the one who gave me an opportunity, and I was promoted to a supervisor, district supervisor, within 6 months. So it's turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Having a family, children, being married, you lose your job, you got to provide, and being on a waiting list for nursing, I just needed to find something stable, and that's when I got the job with the school district. For whatever reason, I've always enjoyed not only helping people, but have never been grossed out by blood or vomit, urine, anything like that. I always knew there was a shortage of male nurses, so it was something that I was going to pursue at the time. Working in this type of environment, I think it provides a sense of pride. I think you're always in touch with the community, whether it be outside school events, whether it be basketball on Saturdays and Sundays. Being in this field, I think there's always been a stigma of what a janitor does, and a janitor just cleans, and a janitor this. You get to know your board members, you get to know your mayor, you get to know your town council. Okay, of course, at Jaggard here, we still provide voting. Okay, for the surrounding area here, so you get to see people come in that might have went here 30 years ago or had kids go here 30 years ago. So, it brings you in touch with the community, and I think, there's no more important thing in a community than its school district, its schools, it's the way they educate their children, okay, the way they treat their employees. This has always been a pretty good district with that. So, community is a very important thing. And I know I've heard of other school districts that, don't take pride in their buildings, okay, and it trickles down to the community. The community sees that people don't take pride in doing their jobs at their schools, and that affects morale throughout the whole town, throughout the whole district. So I think we set the tone here at the school, okay, for what goes out into the community, how kids go home, how they see their community. So I think that's what's important about maintenance and custodial departments and that type of thing. I mean, I think we hold it together, and I think it reaches out to the community in many different ways. It might be taken for granted a little bit, but I think you're seeing more and more today, like the appreciation. I think the parents are starting to realize what really goes into being a custodian. I mean, what really goes into being a janitor per se. I mean, besides just cleaning, I mean, the daily wear and tear in the building. I mean, you need to be able to do basic mechanical stuff, with, whether it's, fixing lights or power outage goes out, making sure you know what to do with that. I mean, there's a lot more than just cleaning that comes with this job. You got to be able to communicate with your fellow coworkers. You got to be able to communicate with parents. You got to be able to communicate with staff. It's just provide supplies. Okay, all these school projects you see these young elementary kids take home. Okay, that's stuff that we provide for them to work with. If I don't have the supplies to a teacher, and then they can't do the projects. So I think it's becoming more and more appreciated. I know the staff here appreciates what we do. I think the community starts to see. I think it's the stigma of being a janitor per se is being lifted, and I think that it's. I think people are starting to see how important a role a custodial worker plays.